Board of County Commissioners now in session. We'll be doing the pledge followed by the prayer. Mr. Jones, usually it's the other way around, right? Prayer followed by the pledge.
Whichever way you want to do it, sir.
I'm sorry.
Father, we thank you for this day that you've given unto each and every one of us. We thank you for this time that we're taking together, Lord, to look and try to attempt to make decisions for the welfare and being and safety of everyone that lives and resides and visits Franklin County. Pray that you be with us today, God, that you give us discernment, understanding, and knowledge. Help us, Lord, above all, to exercise discretion today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda will be the approval of the minutes.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Next will be payment of county bills.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley, second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Next will be the Department Director's Report. Mr. Howard Neighbor, Superintendent of Public Works.
Morning, Commissioners. How y'all doing?
Good.
I just got a couple items this morning, and one of them was on the working supervisor, which was run for 2 weeks in-house. Excuse me, which, nobody turned one in but little Mitch McCaplin, so I'd like to ask for board's approval to move little Mitch from equipment operator to working foreman, which he still be running equipment some, but
So moved.
Wait a minute, Mr. Chairman, if I may inject, under the personnel rules, once y'all authorize, and we went over this at the last meeting with Mr. Howard, once y'all have authorized him to advertise for the position, he makes the selection and informs the board of his decision. The board doesn't make that choice for him. So there's no need for a motion, in other words.
Okay.
okay, but I'd also like the board's approval, on moving little Mitch's salary. He's making $34,721. I'd like to move that salary to $37,221, which will be a $2,500 raise.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley, second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Okay, then I'd like to ask for, equipment operator, which salary would start out at $25,000. I run it 2 weeks in-house, and nobody gets to run it 2 weeks in the paper.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley, second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Anything else, Mr. Howard?
No, sir, that's got it.
Anything from the board to Mr. Neighbor?
Mr. Chairman, I do need to ask a question. Howard, on the stuff, when we finish these access alleyways, and the ones we've done so far do look really good,
Thank you.
I want you to think about it, and you can tell us later, you don't have to tell us now, if you think it's something that we should actually put signs up on, so the public knows it's beach to bay
Probably
access
do
alleys.
beach access, especially on the beach side,
Okay,
which,
okay.
yeah.
But anyway, we'll look at it. I just want to mention it while you're here to help
Okay.
me remember.
Which will be the gov side, not
Okay.
be the gov.
Okay.
Anything else for the board for Mr. Howard? Howard, the soccer field out there is looking good, the work you done.
Thank you.
Good job.
When they pulled over, but
Soccer don't start till like October, but we still got some things to do out there, but it's looking good.
yeah, I passed by there, I seen it, it is.
Mr. Chairman, I've got an item. Michael, would you take up, number 8 on your report? Because Howard's here, and he does take care of the roads, mowing of the roads and all.
Good idea. Good morning. Very good idea, Commissioner. Item 8 of my report, Mrs. Leslie Cox, Green Guide, submitted for board consideration some recommendations on mowing the right-of-way on County Road 67 in order to protect important native grasses and wildflowers for fall migration of butterflies. I did some research and found Wakulla County's newest mowing plan they submitted to FDOT. Both documents are included in your packet. Is the board interested in submitting a new mowing plan to FDOT for state roads and/or changing the mowing plan for county roads? For discussion. I did the investigation based on continuous complaints from the board that certain parts of the county, especially 98, look unkept. But the problem is, we had a mowing plan in place. It was kind of between a rock and a hard place where we were. So that's why I went ahead and looked at, especially since I found out Wakulla had just submitted this plan to FDOT.
The reason why I wanted to bring it up is because we're fixing to start mowing the grass in the county. And what is our policy, Howard?
They don't mow until the wildflowers is gone, basically. So, but we usually cut, basically in front of the houses, like on 67 up to the prison. So, but if y'all want to stop that too, for the wildflowers, we can, but,
Well, I think you need to continue what you've been doing.
okay.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
But the one thing that Ms. Cox has complained about in past years is about the rutting in the ditches on 67. And I remind her that that is not the county tractors doing that. That is those kids bogging in the big trucks. And so that's when we informed the sheriff's department that we wanted them to patrol 67 a little bit more, especially now that we've got a lot of rain. They're bogging out there now, and that's what's tearing up the ditches. It's not the tractors. So I would just want to ask the board just to let Michael Marone contact the sheriff's office and remind them of this. And if they catch somebody bogging in the ditches and they're buried up to past the axle, you know, write them a ticket. And I know you've got other places too, Mr. Chairman, in your area that needs to have a watchful eye put on it.
Can I say something, Mr. Chairman?
Mm-hmm.
Why the whole county got the grass got to go up over the whole county behind the wildflowers? I mean, why it couldn't be a little strip for the wildflowers and mow the rest of the grass? It'll look better. It look ridiculous sometimes when you go out there and it look bad. I mean, every other county I see, you go down the road
Yeah, we got.
and they be cut.
Yes, sir. We got calls also last year, you know, we do 98 of East Point. And, you know, a lot of people, the kids and stuff walk that little bike path, which is stuff we growed up pretty bad. And they was calling in wanting to cut. And, so we cut it, you know, then we got complaints from some other people about the wildflower stuff, so,
I mean, but them snakes, it be snakes out there.
yeah.
That grass gets so high, them kids can't see it. One of them get bit, whose fault it's gonna be? We got to equal this thing out. I mean, the wildflower, they want a part for the wildflower that, let's have a script on each end of the county, mile wide or something, or so long, for wildflowers and cut the rest of the county. Somebody get hurt behind a wildflower, I mean, a snake bite, wildflower, I'm gonna go for get rid of the wildflower.
Yeah.
You sure need to see them snakes.
That was my thing, the liability to the county, because if the grass gets up high and you're going down 67 at night, it's dark down that road anyway, and a deer darts in front of you, you can't see it with a tall grass.
That's what I know.
You know, I mean, it has been known, those little, baby deers or the little does, even the bucks, they get hit, so,
I brought that up last time this subject come up about the safety issues of that. I think really we need staff to look at it and come back to us at the next meeting with some recommendations of what we need to do, taking into consideration of the wildflowers, but also the commissioner's comment. If somebody would make a motion to direct staff to,
so move.
Second.
I think that's the best way to approach it. Until then, Howard, as the board said, continue what we're doing, but
Okay.
we're just making you aware that we're looking at some different recommendations based on the board's comment.
Yeah. And I have one more thing too, which I got.
Hang on, let me take a vote on this
Okay,
motion in a
okay.
second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed, the motion carried. Okay, Mr. Howard.
Yeah, which our excavator too, which I think some of y'all commissioners may be aware that we have parked out there, and somebody went out there one night, I don't know, Tuesday or Wednesday night, knocked two of our windows out of the excavator, which is threw a big rock through it, which I called the sheriff's department, they, you know, they took pictures and stuff, so I got a report on it.
That was out there on the soccer field. Another issue while you're here, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about this real quick. I called Fonda yesterday and asked him to start getting some quotes about putting a fence around that soccer field out there. If you don't, They're gonna go out there in the middle of that soccer field where Mr. Neighbors has spent a solid week grading and getting all, they're gonna go out there and start spinning donuts and tear up everything he's just done.
Yeah.
So I wanna make the board aware of that, Mr. Davis is supposed to be getting us some quotes to get that thing fenced in where it can stay the way you got it.
Okay.
And then we're gonna have to look at putting some seed or something on it, to get the grass growing while we got rain, you know?
Yeah.
And try to get that going on too. Any other comments from Mr. Neighbors while he's here, from the board? Thank you, Howard.
Yeah.
Next on the agenda will be Mr. Fonda Davis, Solid Waste Director.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Well, y'all done took care of my report. Soccer field. So I want to appreciate and thank Mr. Howard Neighbors also for the work that's been done out there. We're moving along good. Last Commissioner said I was gonna get ready to check on the sod and fence, and I actually met with a gentleman this morning concerning the fence, and so we're on top of that. Just waiting to get a quote back.
In the meantime, Mr. Morone, if you'd call the sheriff's department and get into patrol of that until we can get a fence up there.
Okay.
If you don't, they're gonna go out there and just start doing donuts in the middle of that dirt that he just graded out this whole last week, and it's just gonna be a mess, and he's got to go back and
Looks
redo
good.
it.
Looking
So
good.
if he could patrol it a little bit for us until we can get that fence up, to keep the vehicles out of there, would be greatly appreciated. What else you got, Mr. Davis?
That's it.
Anything from Mr. Davis this morning from the board?
Keep up the good work.
Keep up the good work.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next on the agenda would be Ms. Pam, what you got?
I was gonna interrupt with one thing. I have, up there, I have the Armory calendars online, put on my report also. Well, I'll find this here, so let me bring that up.
What number is that?
Hey, this is what, number 12, Commissioner.
Number 12.
I had Google Earth or something else, but I guess we won't be using it. Item 12, inform the board that Armory calendar is now online. A link to the calendar can be found on the county's website on the main page under the quick link tab. As a public notice, I recommend that anyone that has reserved the Armory but don't see their reservations indicated on the calendar, contact Sharon or Cheyenne, 653-9783, as soon as possible to discuss their reservations. So basically, you come to the county's main webpage, under quick links, Armory calendar, you click that, this page will come up. It will show the calendar, and that in turn shows you who has reservations for what weekend. As we move on, as it gets closer to weddings, we're gonna have more and more, oops, bad month, sorry. April versus the prom, a wedding right after that. This is the day of ball, picture taking at the Armory right there. And then the road department has some sort of training that they're gonna use the Armory for. So, again, this is more of a public notice to let everybody know, go to the website, check the calendar, check for your dates. If it's not there, call the office as soon as possible to straighten that up.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So is the price listed with that?
No, I have not, I only have the calendar. When they call in, they can get a price list and some other information. If you would like, I could put that on there also
You better.
to save a phone call or two, I guess, for the cost of the Armory. I get that done. Should get that done somewhere.
I mean, it's up to the board, huh?
Well, Michael, one suggestion is I think you need to run an ad in the paper. A lot of people that call in for this are out of town, but they get subscription
Okay.
to the paper, so if we could run an ad in the paper, again, informing the public that it is online and, you know, just
I will. Good idea, sir.
list the website for them in the little advertisement, if I could get a motion from the board, direct staff to do that.
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
And, Mr. Chairman, Fonda has suggested that I go ahead and talk about items 5 and 6, which refers to Lombardi's, while he's here, in case there are any questions about the use of what's slowing down. Item number 5, inform the board I have been notified by Mr. Jim Oskowitz of FDEP, who is managing our Natural Resource Damage Assessment, known as NERDA projects, that it is still the state's position that the county does not own the St. George Island Fishing Pier property, and a resolution to this issue will take a lot longer than previously anticipated. Mr. Oskowitz is recommending that we delete the St. George Island Fishing Pier restroom and seawall replacement projects and use that funding for any contingencies that may occur from the other three NERDA projects, which is the East Point Fishing Pier restroom project, the Indian Creek Boat Ramp renovation project, and the waterfront, that's what the state calls it, Lombardi's Park Improvement Project. This action will allow funding from the St. George Island Fishing Pier restroom and seawall replacement project to be used in Franklin County. Board action to authorize a letter to Mr. Oskowitz deleting the St. George Island Fishing Pier restroom and seawall replacement projects and transferring those funds to the other three NERDA projects as needed. What's going on is that there's a fight between two state agencies as to who owns that land, who had the right to issue a quick claim. What I don't want is that money to sit there and then they take it away from Franklin County. This way, we can keep the money in Franklin County. At a later date, if they work out the property ownership deal, then we will turn to our great man here and see if he can find some money for us to get those projects done.
Mr. Chairman, may I get a clarification on what the state's position is on the ownership of those bridge ends, because I did not quite catch that.
They're saying that
You were imitating Mr. Pearson, talking really fast.
I'm sorry, they were saying that we got a quick claim deed back in, I guess, when they abandoned the bridge.
Which is not worth the paper it's written on.
Well, yes, and so I have two state agencies that's fighting for who owns the property.
But they're not trying to get us to say that we own it.
No, but they
Okay.
won't give us a lease to do the project because they have a fight between them as to who owns the property.
Okay.
So we're kind of left out in the cold there.
I'm gonna just give my opinion here, but I always thought it was Florida Department of Transportation.
No, they
But
say,
they say they own it, and then DEP says they own
they
it.
say they own it, and there's a fight.
Yeah.
And it's going back and forth, and it had to
Let
go
them
to
work that out.
on some agenda for the Division of Land Management, and
I don't dispute Mr. Oskowitz's, authority to say what he's saying. I will say that it's a complete disappointment to me and to this whole process, because the one project we tried to get accomplished for the benefit of the people was a bathroom on St. George Island Fishing Pier. I'm very unhappy with the state of Florida. And now to say, well, we can't really figure this out, so we're gonna abandon the very most important project out of the whole NERDA that we're gonna do for St. George Island was a bathroom on that bridge, and this is just ridiculous.
yeah, well,
But I mean, it's not our fault.
yeah, and they're not really abandoning the project, they're kind of.
Well, I appreciate your confidence in me, but I'm gonna tell you, there will be $0 when this gets resolved,
Yeah.
because this was a NERDA project. The NERDA money is being spent as fast as they can spend it, and in a year from now, there won't be any NERDA money.
No, they won't. And I don't want to lose the little bit we have in these two projects to just, it's between two state agencies fighting, and
But
we
like
suffer.
Alan said, it's the only project that we have for that area. You don't wanna lose it.
Well, so,
The money will be gone and they still gonna be paid.
yes, that's what I'm afraid of, Commissioner. So if we can just delete the projects on our end and have them transfer the money to the other three projects, let's get those done, and we'll be ahead of the game as far as I'm concerned.
Pleasure of the board.
I say we need to do that, then. I make a motion that we take your, recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? Commissioner Jones, being the commissioner of that district, would you speak how you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm agreeing to what's being said. We don't need to absolutely lose the funding. And I am also worried that as it just drags on, that, they're just gonna take the money off the table. Basically, you didn't use it, so you lose it. So these other three projects are very valid. And the Lombardi project in particular, I think, could use an infusion of help to get it completed. It's been a long process, so.
Any
I'm
other
good
any other comments from the board?
Yeah, when you tell them they contaminating the bay if they don't have a bathroom.
That's exactly right, Commissioner. That was the whole point of this thing.
Yeah. See what they said.
We do have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Item number 6, inform the board that the contractor for the NERDA waterfront Lombardi project has expressed some concerns with the existing roof trusses and sheathing on the old shucking building that will be converted to the Heritage Museum. To summarize, the contractor would like to replace the trusses and sheathing, install metal brackets as required by code, and install adequate strapping, including hurricane straps. As a cost-saving measure, the contractor would like to reuse the metal panel roofing panels, said that wrong, since they appear to be in good condition. However, the contractor and the state request a waiver from the county stating that the condition of the metal roof panels will not be warranted since they're being removed and then reinstalled. Until this matter is resolved, the state will not issue the necessary change order, and that part of the project will be stalled. Board action to authorize Attorney Schuler to create this waiver and authorize the chairman's signature on the waiver.
Mike, when we're talking about the roofing on that particular building, we done that like 4 years ago. But when they put it on, they didn't replace all the plywood and all,
Yep,
and
and
the
it's
trusses, the trusses were built back in 1970, so they don't meet the building code, so that's what he's referring to here. I went out, me and Miss Morone went out there and met with them and looked at all the,
There are no hurricane straps.
yeah, I mean, so, and the roofing's, you know, like I said, 4 years old, so there's no sense in just throwing it away. And they're saying that they can take the necessary steps to be able to reuse it, so I don't have a problem with this issue. Pleasure of the board.
And I'll say to the attorney, they will,
Yes, sir.
the installation is warranted, sir. So it's just the condition of those panels is what they're asking the waiver for.
They're not brand-new panels, they're
Yes, sir.
they're 4 years old.
Well, all they gonna do is screw them off, screw them back on.
That's correct.
It'll be all right.
Did you have a motion?
Yeah.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley,
Second.
second by Commissioner Sanders. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carried.
All right, we're good. Mr. Davis?
Yeah, good. I do have another item I'd like to mention, about the day of ball, as I mentioned on the calendar. Starts Friday at 6 o'clock, and then Saturday at 10.
And where's it at
This
this year?
weekend, East Point.
East Point.
The Roman Park, yes, sir. Also, I'd like to mention that Kevin Shower, employee of Solid Waste, his mother passed away, and they will be having her service tomorrow. Viewing is from 12 to 1, and then the service will start immediately after the viewing. It's on CC Land Road, Pastor Bobby Shiver's church. That's it.
Any comments from the board for Mr. Davis?
Mr.
I got
Chairman,
one.
I have something.
Go ahead, Mr.
I would like for us to maybe readdress and look at the issue of the shooting range. I think I've had more talks about shooting range than I have hospital or anything else we're doing combined in the last couple of weeks. Mr. Davis, could you clarify what we talked about the other day as far as how, I mean, is the range still open or has it been closed?
It's still open.
Okay,
My understanding that the board wanted to remain open until we get the one on the west end of Appalachia, and also Commissioner Massey mentioned about the one in Caryville. So I have not shut the shooting range down yet.
okay.
I also have been receiving numerous calls and complaints about the shooting range being closed. The one on the Appalachian, the people is concerned that they're not gonna be able to use it because it's a membership only.
Well, that's what the city,
That wasn't what.
that's what the city told me. I was down, Ms. Lee, the one who in that office, she said it's not gonna be open for the public.
I got a phone call the day after our last meeting from the chief of police for the city of Appalachian. It also said it would not be open. And the one that Commissioner Massey referred to, he said he's talked to the chief in Caryville, and it will not be open to the public either. I've received numerous emails. Everywhere I go, somebody stops me, pulls me to the side, and usually don't get involved in county government about not having a place to shoot. I was fixing to bring that up before Commissioner Jones addressed the issue. I don't know what we're gonna do to solve it, but before we close that down, at the request of Mr. Davis and the sheriff, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do. What are we gonna do for the people to put a shooting range in it? And, I don't really wanna get into, anything with the two cities. They're doing their own thing, their municipalities, their own taxing authority. I don't wanna get into all that. But I feel like we as a county are gonna have to start looking and looking at the issue a little harder before we shut that particular range down and make sure that these people have, whether it's an unimproved range with just berms all the way around somewhere that they can go and sight their guns in or shoot. One guy called me, said he shoots in a competition, pistols, shoot competitively. There's nowhere for them to go practice. So, and that's just one call that I got, and I got numerous calls.
We did too. Mr. Chairman, I just want to bring up a factor that it has been brought up about going and talking to Tate Hill Forest about, you know, reserving a piece of land for a shooting range. That has came up several times in our liaison meetings in the past years, and I guess forestry does not look at that as a use of the forest. But I would not, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we contact the Florida Forestry Service and see if maybe there's a partnership that we can work with and to try to get a little piece of land somewhere that we can do a shooting range. Cause they are the biggest property owner in, you know, Franklin County. This is a type of sport, and all. So I'm gonna make a motion that we contact forestry and see if we can, work with them to, get a shooting range somewhere, at a couple of places maybe, in Franklin County.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion?
Yeah, we need to hurry up and do something, because we in a dangerous situation over there by that jail, that somebody gets shot.
Before you
It's
vote
gonna be
this,
on us.
To give you another, continue the discussion briefly. So on, where's your pointer? On the screen here is the property that, well, I have a pointer. So there's the jail right there. This is the 40 acres of land that the school, that the county owned, that we gave to the school board, and that was 40 acres of land that was, I think it's 40 acres, 20 acres, was gonna be used by FWC in 2008 to put a shooting range in there. So we've already cleared all the shooting range would fit in there. I have a scale I can give you all from FWC created 8 or 10 years ago. So the school board still owns that. It's possible we just go to the school board and see if they would let us put a shooting range on that parcel. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's what we were gonna do 8 years ago.
Well, that was because FWC was willing to put $500,000 into that, and we wanted to put it next to the sheriff's department where we had somebody kind of overseeing it. So that it's not totally destroyed. Now, if you do one out in the middle of the woods, there's not gonna be anybody there to oversee it. So that's the perfect solution. We do have a motion and a second on the floor, is that correct?
Well,
That's
that-
correct.
Well, that-
Wait just a minute. I mean, if you think that would be a better idea than trying to contact forestry and seeing if there's,
Well,
you know, I rescind my motion then.
Yeah, I only offer that because it's partly cleared off and the school boards, well, who knows if they need the property anymore. I don't know what, I shouldn't speak for the school board, I can't. But at one point, they were open to the idea about putting a shooting range there. I don't know if that's still true. It's been 8 years.
What I'd like to see you do, Commissioner Sanders, is amend your motion to include this action too, and we'll just go to double prong
Okay,
and take care of the forestry and make a request to the school board
Okay.
at the same time.
I'll amend my motion to reflect what the chairman said about contacting the school board and trying to work out something here, so.
Who made the second?
Commissioner Jones.
Commissioner Jones, will you amend your second?
Yes, sir, I will.
Reflect that, and that way we can talk to both entities, and maybe one of them will work out. Preferably, it would be the one that Alan has said, which beside the sheriff's department, where we got somebody there to kind of keep an eye on this thing. And if that's possible, then we can pursue the FWC grant that they were willing to give us to build a nice facility there.
I do know that a shooting range don't supposed to be around a residential area and around a jailhouse. You don't need no shooting range. I mean, that's an accident waiting to happen. I know that.
Or your comments, Mr.?
Yeah, if you would, just keep in mind also, we use a part of that area for practice field, for the overspill, and so many teams in East Point, they go out there and practice on it also.
So you're gonna have a conflict in one or the other.
Yeah, exactly. Just something to keep in mind.
We still don't know how they're gonna answer us anyway, so, you know what I mean?
We do have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries. Finally, if you get with Buster and see if he can't put some additional berms down both sides of the existing shooting range, which will
Okay.
do away with the deflections that you and the sheriff were concerned about
Okay.
until we can get this worked out. I think that would be a pretty easy fix to not have to worry about the ricocheting on either side of that. And I know that it's been continuous complaints from the Humane Society every time somebody shoots, the animals go crazy. I mean, there's a lot of issues going on here, but to completely shut that down, I think it's gonna be a lot more issues. But we'll continue to work to try to solve the problem. Any other comments, from the board? Mr. Davis, you have any more comments for the board?
No, sir. That's it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next on the agenda would be Ms. Pam Burnell, Emergency Management Director.
Good morning, Commissioners. I do not have any action items on my report at this time.
Any comments from the board from Ms. Pam?
We storm ready?
I think Michael has something
Oh,
on
okay.
his report.
Hey, item 4, Commissioners, board action to authorize the travel and expenses for Commissioner Jones to attend, help me here, Pam, is it a G402 Incident Command System? It's an overview for executive and senior officials, and that will be on Thursday, May 3rd in Sebring, Florida. This is part of the State Emergency Response Team Compliance Training.
So moved.
Most of the other
Second.
board members have already taken this.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
There being no comment from the board from Ms. Pam?
Yeah, we storm ready?
Yes, sir. Oh, if we're storm ready, if everybody has their plan in place. But our office is, also, Commissioner, just to let y'all know, at the next board meeting, I will be in Tallahassee at the CIM that is required in order for us not to get dinged on our grant. So either Tress or Jenny will be my stand-in for that day.
And item number 1, can you address item number 1 as Commissioner Lockley referring to being storm ready? Because this was a huge issue the last storm.
Storm ready, we actually have a plaque from from NOAA, saying that there's certain criteria. We have, internet, we have, TV, we have radio equipment. Those are all considered to be storm ready. We have to do a certain amount of outreach to our public, which we do. We do seafood festival, we do different things all year long. We advertise our website, we advertise for the alert system and getting your reentry tags. That's all part of the county being storm ready.
That's the one I was wanting you to stress is the reentry tags. 'Cause
Reentry tags,
that was
well-
a huge issue.
You seen it with your own
I did.
eyes, the last storm, everybody in this county, we issued over 10,000 tags at that storm, and our population is 11.5, and part of that is the prison. So, everybody in this county should have a tag, and I hope we stressed, please put them up so you can find them, so you're not back in here in my office, because we were reissuing tags again, because people had misplaced their tags. Packed them up, didn't know where they were,
How long they good for?
forever.
But the moral of the story is now's the time to check, make sure you have your tag
Yep,
before an actual storm event. And, because it turns into chaos at our little EOC out there when we should be concentrating on the storm and making preparations for that, we're issuing these reentry tags. So the concern for me is to notify the public to look and see if you have your tag. If you don't, let's go
We'll
ahead and
start
get them.
pushing that out,
And
yep.
be prepared for the storm season and make everything flow a lot better at the EOC.
yep.
Any other comments from Ms. Pam? Thank you, Pam. Mr. Eric Lovestrand, he sent in the thing saying he was in training this morning.
Yes, he's in training in this morning, Commissioner.
Okay. Next will be Ms. Lisa Lance, Library Director.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Just a few informational items first. Want to remind the public that we have 4 more weeks of the free tax aid being offered at the library, so April 12th is the final day for that. There's 2 more available dates at Carabel and at East Point. We also want to invite everyone this Saturday. We're part of the Carabel Culture Crawl. That's the 2nd annual for Carabel. The library is participating in that. We will have refreshments and have some information, have some giveaways and things. So we want to invite everyone to the library that if you've not been in our local library, you need to stop by. The other thing, the Carabel branch, we will be closed March 30th for the holiday, is the county holiday, but the Carabel branch will also be closed on that Saturday for the Easter weekend. Our second midwinter update for the comparison of February 2017 to 2018. Carabel circulation was up 33%, and East Point was up 5%. Carabel's attendance was up by 100% increase, and East Point's was up by 24% I do have one action item. I'm requesting approval from the Board of County Commissioners for the conversion of the current Carabel part-time position to make that a full-time status position, permanent. If approved, this conversion is requested to be effective April 1. That will comply with the benefits. There'll be no hold on the benefits. This conversion is necessary for the past year. We have consistently added programs and services. With that, of course, as you see, our attendance is up. With that, we need more staff hours to accommodate that. We also are going to be doing a redirection of approved funds from the additional part-time position that we had asked for that we did not get adequate candidates for. So this funding will be allocated to that. So we will be able to cover that within our budget.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion?
You got the money in your budget?
Yes, sir.
And in turn, one question real quick before I call for a vote, but if you had the one part-time, you're gonna use that funding to make this one position a full-time position, correct? You got two
Right, right.
part-times, one wouldn't fill, so you're gonna take this money, move it over,
Right.
and make that a full-time
Right,
position?
and add it to the current, part-time
Which actually-
funding that's there.
So it actually tells me that next year at budget time, you still have that funding, if your
Should-
budget remains current.
Should so be it.
So we wouldn't
Yes,
be
sir.
increasing the budget.
That's our intent.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second on the floor.
Wait a minute, you won't be increased.
No, because she's taking that one part-time position and moving it over to the other part-time and making it a full-time position. So my,
If you gonna ask for, let me ask you a question. Is you gonna hire another part-time?
Not currently, no. We will look at that at the next budget review, whenever we review funding and review our expenses for the next year.
Not current.
Right.
in other words, she's not gonna hire the part-time.
No,
she's
I'm not
move
gonna,
that
we're
money
not
over.
gonna fill the extra additional part-time position. We're gonna reallocate that funding to accommodate the additional hours of full-time plus benefit.
So if she wanted to keep this full-time next year and she comes to us at budget time, she wouldn't be increasing her budget.
I know, but next year, you won't be asking for no part-time next year neither.
At this
We won't have
moment,
the
no.
money.
You won't have the money without increasing the budget. That's
Correct.
what I was trying to get straight a while ago. So she's just going to full-time and just not having
Commissioner Locke,
part-time.
if she asked for a part-time position next year, it would be.
It would be increasing the budget.
If she asked, it would be, but she's, right now she's saying she won't ask.
We do have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor? All opposed? A motion carries.
Any additional questions for me?
Any questions from the board for Ms. Leeson? I think you're doing a good job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Lisa.
Next will be Mr. Jason Puckett, Airport Manager.
I want to give a quick update. The FBO is doing a phenomenal job. Centric Aviation reported that they had 107 round trips from their courtesy cars into town just in the month of February. And why that's important is because each car is taking 2 to 4 people into our local economy. So 100 trips times 2 to 4, that's a lot of folks coming in and spending money at our restaurants, our hotels, and our businesses. So airport is doing a great job. The FBO, Centric Aviation, has put new flooring throughout the building out there. In line with their commitment to keep it local, they use a local company to do the installation. The FBO also added an additional line service technician job, and they hired a local resident to fill it. As was announced a couple months ago, Centric Aviation has awarded 3 scholarships, $1,000 scholarships each. Those students have been selected and have been notified, and there will be a short award ceremony on the Aviation Day that we're having Saturday. About the Aviation Day, this Saturday, Centric Aviation and myself have coordinated an event that we hope will represent our airport, represent the county the best way possible. But we have going to have an exciting time at the airport from 11 to 3 this Saturday. Got a couple World War II aircraft that's going to be there, free airplane rides for kids. Going to have a couple local bands, some food trucks, jumpy house for the kids. Just going to have a really good community event to expose our airport, expose our community to what the airport provides us out there. Moving forward, we have our annual FDOT annual inspection on April 3rd. Our tractors, both of our tractors are actually being repaired right now, so we might have to lean on the road department to help us out a little bit to get us ready. But overall, the airport's in pretty good shape. It shouldn't be too bad to get us ready for that inspection. And at this time, I'd like to turn your attention to John Collins, who will give us a quick up. Yes.
Are they back in the rental car business or not?
No, they're not. You're not doing. Are you doing rental cars? It's your own crew car. They
Okay.
provide their own crew cars,
I know that's an
courtesy
issue.
cars.
We always love to have rental cars out there, but it's been a battle. I know Avis, these guys keep changing the rules on you. So.
Yeah, Hertz was a nightmare. Enterprise was a nightmare. But that's their personal courtesy cars they brought in for pilots to use
I
when
think
they.
the 20-year-old Escort is still running, right?
That's
It's
such
now a historic car.
running is a liberal word. That's an awful big word. John Collins, will get- yes,
Jason,
sir.
real quick, on getting the road camp to help you with the airport.
Yes, sir.
You need to do that immediately.
Yes, sir. I just
before
talked
he
to him
gets
this morning.
You did, okay.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and get that straightened out, because
Yes, sir.
it ain't gonna be long. He's gonna be cutting on the side of the roads, and he's not gonna have time.
I understand. Yes,
So
sir.
if
I
if
gave
you-
him a quick heads up.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
And I want to bring John up real quick from Avcon to give you an update on the current projects.
Good morning, Commissioners. There's 4 projects I just want to give you an update on at the airport. They're ongoing development projects. The first one is the airfield lighting replacement project, and just last week, the contractor finished up the last piece of work on that project. And about a month ago, the FAA test flew the runway lighting, and they approved everything. Everything's good to go. So really, I would think in the next 30 days, that project should be closed out, and we'll get everything to DOT that they require to close out the project. The second project is the airfield drainage rehabilitation project. And the contractor, they've completed all the work included in the original scope of work for the project, but there was some money left over. And so they're finished, the county added an additional piece of drainage pipe that was failing for a replacement. So they're actually currently working on that right now. And again, with that project, I would think in the next 30 days, that should be complete. And then we'll begin the closeout process with that project. The third project is the commercial access road. And we've been working diligently with the Water Management District and also the Army Corps to procure that wetlands permit, because we're impacting about 0.7 acres of wetlands to install that road. And it's been a process just going back and forth with them, but we hope to have that resolved here in the next 30 days. There's a lot happening in the next 30 days. So as soon as we get that permit, then we'll issue the project for bid. So we're looking at possibly late spring, early summer to issue that project for bid. It's about a 5,000 linear foot access road to provide commercial access to the airport, really to help out with economic development at the airport. And the last item, which is pretty exciting, is the economic development study. I know we've come before you a few months ago to give an update on the study. Ms. Beth Kirkland and Mr. Santiago Fernandez with BRPH are here today. There are a couple items down on the agenda, and they can be providing really one of our more final updates on the plan and talk about the next steps in that process. So they'll be up here in a few minutes. As far as upcoming grants go, there's 2 grants that are kind of in the pipe right now. The first one is a grant to remark the airfield. The existing markings are faded, they're hard to see, and there's a lot of mildew on the pavements. And so the FDOT is providing money to remark the airfield. And I just spoke with them last week, and they said that money is available right now. And so we'll work with them to procure that grant and get that project started as soon as possible. And the nice thing about that project is there's really no design needed for that. The county can go directly to Highlight Markings, who has a statewide FDOT contract to remark airfields, and go straight to them, and they will do the work. So it's a pretty quick process to get that done.
Is that all 3 runways or just 2? Or
It's 2. It's 1432 and 624. The FDOT will not pay for 1836. So both the runways, however, will be remarked.
So this is, just to let y'all know, I mean, this is the path we're on. I don't know how long we'll stay on this path, but at some point, 1836, which is north-south runway, as the FDOT continues not to fund that runway, we'll have to continue to reevaluate that runway for its flyability, what do you want to call it, for its ability to remain open. There are issues on that runway. Marking is one of them. Trees growing at the end of the runway is another one. So there are things that are, over time, are going to cause that runway to be less part of the airfield. We just have to recognize that.
Right. And the final grant here this morning is, in July, the FAA is making money available for the airport to update the airport master plan. which is it's a detailed document where we look at current operations at the airport and we project out the needs of the airport over the next 20 years. And that's a requirement of both the FAA and the DOT for the county to put together the master plan update to get future funds. So that will start in July, and typically that's about a 1-year process to go through that. There's a lot of surveying that's required and FAA review, DOT review. So we'll actually coordinate that grant application with the commissioners in June. It's a schedule. The commissioners will sign the grant application in June and submit it to the FAA in July. And that would be 100% funding to cover the project with FAA and DOT working together because they both understand how important it is to get that done, and they're both funding the project together, so 0% county participation with that project. That's it for now.
Any comments from the board?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
When you know, y'all getting y'all stuff together, but when is they, every time y'all come in front of that podium, be talking about your studies and all that. When did they get something going to put people to work?
Well, it's a good question. Good time you asked that. Actually, later on the agenda, we're gonna have a discussion about the economic development study for the airport, which is something that, a year and a half ago, the commissioner said, look, we really need to look at the airport and see how can we develop this? How can we put the airport in a good position to, be good for jobs?
We don't need no more study. We need people
Right.
working.
Right.
That's
Well,
what we need.
absolutely, I agree. We're certainly on the team, county team, to make that happen. And so here, in a couple minutes, we'll let Beth Kirkland and Santiago come up and have that discussion.
Are y'all gonna hang around for the?
Yes, we'll be here for it.
for it? Anything from the board for Jason or engineer?
Thank you.
Commissioner, if I may. Mr. Puckett, I'd like to talk with you at some time,
Yes,
just
sir.
you and I. The board nominated me, or pushed me, or however you want to look at it, to serve for them on the ARPC.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of presentations done while I've been going there, and most of the time, Mr. Morons went with me. So the people in our 9-county region kind of know what's going on. I would like at some point to see if you might be interested in making some kind of presentation to them.
I would love to.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So we can get some time and, find direction from the board, but I would like to see that because, we're talking about this county and that county, but we're not talking about Franklin County. So,
Right. I'd love to, and I'd love for our economic development plan to be part of that presentation. Yeah, I think it'd be great. Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay.
Love to, be
I'll
honored
be getting
to.
in touch with you, or Mr. Moran will be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board?
Just one. I'm gonna tack on to what Mr. Noah was saying just a minute ago. There's been many agencies coming before this commission that has wanted to grow the airport for us. 20 years I've sat here and the airport hadn't really went no farther than what it is right now. So until they give, this board some proof that they're honestly gonna do nothing, their talk is cheap, y'all. Talk is cheap. But that is a good, opportunity to put some good jobs out there to employ some of our people.
I agree.
And I hope that, well, after I'm gone, that y'all will still pursue that. And because that is an economic driver in our county for sure.
I agree.
Commissioner, you're all exactly right, and I hate to keep saying up here, and without any prospect for jobs either, because it's frustrating for you all represent the people, and you want to have a better community. The challenge of the airport is, it's just a very expensive structure to maintain, and the federal government, as I said at the last meeting, they recognize the importance of our airport in the national aviation scheme of things, so we continue to get money to maintain it. But I agree, we see millions of dollars going in there just to maintain the thing, and yet no jobs are being created. But I wish I could explain to you, or give you another scenario, but the infrastructure, the roads, the drainage, it's a big airport. It's much bigger than we would otherwise have. And that's why the federal government is ready to represent and to put money in that thing, because it's necessary for the national aviation scene to have that airport functioning.
Can I interject just real quickly? And I agree, and I think what we have to look at is direct jobs and indirect jobs. We all want direct jobs at the airport, but I think it's very, very clear that we understand that their airport is providing a lot of indirect jobs to the economy as well. There's a lot of subsidiary industries that are dependent upon the folks that use that airport. So it's a port for the county. We might not have 30 jobs sitting out there at a manufacturing plant, but it is providing a resource for us and a value for us. And I think you're right, Chair, Ms. Sanders. Hopefully today with the economic development plan, we can look at some ways we can identify to start bringing some folks out there. I agree completely.
If you listen to what I said, different agencies.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm just saying, I've sitting here 20 years, I saw a lot of agencies
I got you.
that come through here that said, oh, we can help you.
Right.
We can help you, and never get anything
Right.
done. That was, I'm gonna go on into it, Mr. Nolan, you can jump in there when you want to. It's just like Opportunity Florida. We joined Opportunity Florida many, many years ago. I went to every meeting they had. We signed MOUs, we signed MOAs, we signed everything because it was the 8-county region. There's still the same 8-county region that Mr. Jones is talking about with ARPC.
Right.
You see what I'm
Yes,
saying?
ma'am.
And every time we signed an MOA or MOU, because it took the whole 8 counties to agree to it, we were promised that our people would have an economic impact from it.
Right.
We have not seen it. Now, the Georgia Pacific plant in Liberty County, it has hired a few of our local folks,
Right.
but not many. But what I'm saying is, we really need to look seriously at other opportunities, and I'm glad the Triumph money is gonna start coming in here, because we have got, with the condition of the Apalachicola Bay and all the situations here, we have got to look at more. We've got our construction industry, we've got our tourist industry.
Right.
But we need more than that.
I agree. I agree.
That's just my spiel on it.
Yeah, we need plenty more. I mean, the bay, it's gonna take a while for that to come back. Might not never come back, I don't know. But that's the situation we in now.
Yes, sir.
But that airport been, like I said, she said 60, she had 20 years and I got 16. It's been promising and promising and promising. And I ain't seen nobody get no money but you top people. Engineers. I mean, it's time for
Oh, yeah.
the people I represent and we represent to get some money. I mean, that's all to it.
In other words, we want results.
Yes, ma'am. I'm on the same team. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to speak.
Okay. Thank y'all for coming in today. Next will be public comment. Public comment, raise your hand. Come forward, state your name for the record. Mr. Morone will be keeping the time.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Kirschenbaum. I'm a local businessman. I live on St. George Island. And I'm in here in a non-adversarial role, having a lot of respect for your position and what you give of your life. And the thought process that's gone behind this Coalition for a Safer Franklin County that we've been putting together with a lot of leaders is moving forward, and it's getting the county commission's attention. But just want to let you know, last time I was here, everybody was like, who's this guy from up north? I come from a community with a 200,000 acre preserve. My house is in the middle of it. I have a tree stand. I have a captain's license. We work the bay. We work farms. Our Barrier Beach was a vacation community. 30% of our residents were below the poverty level. We didn't have a meth problem. We had a heroin problem. Franklin County isn't alone and the only place like this. But that's where I come from, and this is my Franklin County. It is where I used to live. But about 2 months ago, a year ago, my wife had a hemorrhage, almost bled to death. EMS saved her life, and I felt indebted to Mike Murphy and EMS in Franklin County to do a fundraiser for them, and myself and my wife did it. My wife is in the back of the room, and thank God she's alive. She lost 6 units of blood. They did all the right things to save her life. We put together a fundraiser and sat down with Mike Murphy in a room, and this guy is a hardworking individual. He does not want to be one of these 2-year guys who disappears from the county. And he started telling us, fundraiser, he goes, hell, I can't fill shifts. He goes, the hospital is not providing benefits and things that we need to retain employees, so I'm having to work 100-hour shifts. And we have EMS people working 100-hour shifts. And we also are running ambulances with 2 EMTs, no paramedics on ambulances. And sometimes they're scrambling from one end of the county to the other. If it was today and my wife hemorrhaged, she would be dead. And that's an issue. We're providing for the safety of the residents of this county, and we need to look hard at this. and making this, I'm looking at what Mike is proposing with the hospital. Great idea to put a Band-Aid on this, but the hospital, I know you're in negotiations with the hospital right now, but the important thing is we need to address this right now because tourist season is here, and I don't want to see the town held negligent for somebody dying, and I don't want to see somebody die. So we need to address both issues simultaneously, and I would love, instead of just addressing Michael Marone, that we should get this kid, Mike Murphy, in here. And I'd just like to make one thing clear, too. He came to me and said, I'm getting nowhere sitting in the commission meetings. I thought I was on the agenda. He wasn't here to intimidate you. And finally, I said, you know what? I need to form a group. I need to go to the press. He didn't do any of this stuff. This is me trying to make an issue out of this. The man is a good person, given hundreds of hours a week. And I just want to close with one quick thing and give you people something to look at. But I love Franklin County and I care about it and I want to help. Mike Murphy, 2-paragraph thing. He's obtained his associate's degree from Gulf Coast State College EMT and paramedic certifications, Gulf Coast State College Bachelor's of Science degree in emergency medical services from University of South Alabama. He's an active member of Gulf Coast State College EMS Program Advisory Committee Board, Gulf Coast Regional EMS Advisory Committee Board, and treasurer for the Florida Association of Rural EMS, as well as on the Grant Review Committee for the State of Florida EMS Grant Cycle. In his tenure with Weems Ambulance, he's been on the Weems Ambulance since 16, was promoted to EMS Director in late 16 with the abrupt departure of the last director. In his tenure at Weems Ambulance, he's been instrumental in the expansion from 2 ambulances to 3, a main author in the medical trauma protocols, which have aided in saving several lives, adding structure to EMS via captain roles, which has also provided the necessary structure within the department, which has aided in saving lives and helped the coverage and lowered response times. He's a good man.
Okay.
And he's
Thank
gonna-
you for your comments, your time. I'll let you go over 2 minutes.
No problem. But he's a good man, and I think, don't look at him that he needs to go. That man does not need to go. He's an asset to this community. And we'd like to be on a workshop in the near future just to help and discuss and guide. We have a lot of good people involved in this. Thank you, sir.
Other public comments? Come forward, state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Brian Bernard from Apalachicola. I understand this, Mr. Marone just spoke about the project for the East Point bathroom and the one out there at, I guess,
Lombard.
past 2 Mile. I understand that the plan in place is to put a storage sewage where they come out there and they pump the tanks as opposed to putting in, running sewage lines.
Yeah,
Am I
that's the
correct?
state's determination, yes, sir.
Well, I'm kind of opposed to that, and I've talked to other people around the county that are also opposed to that, and I understand that the money has come from Triumph, and it's supposed to spur economic development, and I feel like if sewage lines were run, it would be, one, safer for the community, so we don't risk the spill of sewage into the bay, and 2, it would also, in my case, I'm planning on putting a barbecue place in East Point, and if they ran sewage lines, it would give me the opportunity to tie into the sewage line. And anyway, I'd like to reopen this plan up for instead of putting, like I said, storage sewage facility, putting in sewage lines. And I'll take my comments.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Alan, please come forward, state your name for the record.
Good morning, Alan Pfeiffer, Concerned Citizens, Franklin County. Mr. Chairman, could you just give me some clarification on the St. George Island fishing pier? If it's not, we also have a fund for its maintenance or demolition.
Two different things.
And I wanted to see if it was 2 separate things or
Yeah,
not.
the maintenance of the fishing pier, the fishing pier is money we received $1 million from DOT to save the fishing pier in lieu of the DOT tearing it down when they built a new bridge. That's $1 million in the trust fund specifically for the maintenance of the fishing pier. Has nothing to do with the bathrooms or ownership or anything like that. That $1
Okay.
million came, I mean, I find it somewhat humorous that DOT would give us $1 million, then not agree that we own the structure, so I don't know what they gave us $1 million for, but anyway, we'll take the $1 million.
Well, if they don't, if they own the
It's-
structure,
it's
don't they
the-
have to maintain it?
It's the approach to the structure.
It's the approach.
The land where they were gonna put the restroom is not ours. The old fishing pier is ours.
Thank you very much.
Any other public comment?
Just say for the record, the projects are not Triumph-funded projects.
They're NERDA
They're
funded.
NERDA projects, they're totally different funding source.
Any other public comment? There being no further public comments, we'll proceed. Yeah.
On this ambulance thing, we know what's going on with the ambulance. And we know what's going on with the hospital. And we waiting on to see what's gonna happen before anything happens. And for anybody, this commission haven't said nothing about firing nobody. I don't know where that, you hear rumors. So take that from the horse's mouth. It's never been said Mike Murphy or nobody else was gonna get fired up there. So I would appreciate if they stop that. And when we get more information, whilst we studying about this hospital, we'll know which way to go with this ambulance. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on with our agenda here. Mr. Kurt Blair, TDC report, and I assume Clerk's not coming today. Please come forward, state your name for the record.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Deborah Davis, and I am the TDC Finance Director. I'm here in place of Mr. Blair. I did give you the reports. The collections, the TDC collections through December still seem to be a little erratic, but the collections in December were $37,182. It was a slight decrease from the previous year of around $4,398. But overall, if you look at the report, the fiscal year seems to be about flat or even with last year as a whole. Mr. Blair said that he was going to begin the work on our budget for next year, and so he's looking very closely at what the collection figures are going to be. I do have a report that we do have our website has been, a new one has been launched, and you can look at it. It's at www.Florida's Forgotten Coast. And so we hope you enjoy the changes that we've made. Also to report, the legislature, they have closed or adjourned for the year. We are very glad that many of the bills that they were considering did not pass or did not get out of the Senate. So that Mr. Blair is going to review the final reports and get back with you in April. Any other questions or any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I'm looking at the website right now, it looks good. Looks
Thank-
real good, Ms. Dee.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yeah, when is time for the contract to come around on TDC? TDC
Commissioner-
contract, when is time?
Commissioner Lockley, I'm presently working on the RFQs.
Yeah.
The most recent one I'm working on is for the administration. That will set the baseline for the RFQs for all the other vendors. My plan had been to have it ready for the TDC board to review in March, but my understanding is the March meeting of the TDC was canceled, so I've just moved my schedule up to April. So they will have those RFQs available for April for review. The actual contracts will be renewed at the beginning of your next fiscal year. So there's, well, this is March, so you're looking the first day of November, I think, no, October 1st. So we've got plenty of time to have those RFQs reviewed and advertised and people interviewed, and then the board to make a decision on who they're going to award the contracts to.
This is vendor contracts as well as administrative?
That is correct.
Okay.
The administrative contract is one I've got about 90% complete right now. Once I've finished with that, then that will be the baseline for the other vendor contracts.
You know, I just want to make a statement that, we have some good vendors, and we may end up with the same vendors. But it needs to go out for bid, transparency's sake, put it out for bid along with the administration. And that's the reason I asked the board at the last meeting not to approve any kind of a budget for the TDC. We have until October to get it done, but when you go out for these vendor contracts are open for bid, you may get, the numbers may change. So why approve a budget at this time when you got 6, 8 months ahead of time to have these contracts bid out, administrative contract bid out, come back, and then you can finalize your numbers as to who your vendors are gonna be, and proceed from there. So I just wanna make that clear to the public.
And while she at it, Mr. Schuler, well, I'm gonna say it, and then I'm gonna make a motion. I wanna see what it'll be for in-house and out-of-house.
So you're talking about bringing a position in house? Administration.
Yeah, I wanna see, what it's gonna be. And I'm gonna make that a motion that y'all study that too. I make a motion they study, see what it costs.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley, second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? My motion carries. Any more comments for the young lady at the podium?
And I'm not saying it's coming in-house, I just wanna know the difference.
Yes, you
The
should
rumors
know
get
that.
out.
I will do so, Commissioner.
Any comments, any more comments from the board? Thank you for coming in today.
Okay, thank you.
Board recess for